I don't normally do these kind of videos, but I thought it'd be kind of fun this time of year. So we've got some fruit trees, but we've got this giant apple tree here, and it's not looking real good this year. Hope it's gonna survive, but we're toward the end of the apple season here. I'm gonna show how we make cider. So it's kind of unique, a little bit different, and very DIY. So have some fun. We'll see. This video isn't gonna be the cleanest, but it should be fun. Let's check it out. All right, so we collect ground apples. What's a ground apple, you might ask? It's an apple on the ground. So some of them are pretty decent, but then some of them are a little gnarly. So here's a pretty gnarly spot on here. So we just take our handy little knife and we just cut as much of it as we can. Don't worry about too much dirt because it's gonna get washed off. Whoa, into the barrel it goes. Here's another one. That one's in really good shape. A little dirt, it's good. Save that one. What do we got here? That one's pretty good. It's got a little mushy spot. Let's check it out. Yeah, that one's good too. So we just, well, it's shaking the camera, I know. We just grab them apples off the ground. That one's good. Nothing wrong with that one. Ooh, see that one's got, that's a little bit of mold, a little bit of gnarliness there. So again, we just don't get real crazy with it. Just cut off as much as we can. And yes, that one's got a little bit of a chunk off of that one there. We pick them ground apples off the ground, and we get as much of the rot as we can out. Not too worried about it. Again, dirt's fine. And that's that. Okay, a couple pro gamer tips here. One is when we pick up apples off the ground, we don't use our hands because if there's a bee or something on it. So you use your knife to pick them up and then check it out, and that is a pristine apple there. So we call that one good. But then these that are just like really gnarly, the pro gamer tip here is you take your fancy little boot and you squish it. So then that way if you come back across it, you know that's not a good one, and we just move on. So there's another rotten one here. Check this one out here. It's a small one, but a goodie. Yeah, here's another one. Again, pick them up with our knife. Oh yeah, oh, these are really good. Excellent. Pro gamer tips. Huh! Okay, I do want to show in a little more detail on when dealing with these ground apples on the ground. There's definitely some things that are important because people are like pretty usually grossed out by them off the ground. So some of them are just beyond saving. So like this is just almost all mush in here. So that was definitely one that we wouldn't mess with, just mush on it. Again, dirt, don't care about that at all. We're just gonna wash that off. That one's almost pristine. The things we definitely want to be careful about. So there's bird poop on this one, and bird poop is definitely something, any kind of poop or scat we don't want. So try to cut those off. That's pretty important. When we're dealing with cider, we're just going to, if we are going to consume it within like a week, we just drink the natural raw cider. We don't heat it, we don't do anything with it, and it's wonderful. But you really only have about a week before it starts getting a little funky. It can either go to alcohol in an uncontrolled way, which gets fizzy and tart, or it'll go to vinegar, which also gets a little tart. So there's a little bit of poop on there. So if we want it to stay longer than a week in the refrigerator, we pasteurize it. Pasteurizing it is just heating it up to 120 degrees, or actually 160 degrees for a few minutes, and then it is can last in the fridge for a lot longer. Or we can can it, and then it's good for a number of years in canned form. But these lumpy small ones, you don't get much juice out of them. They're a little bit harder, but they'll still go into the grinder and they'll be fine. So we just toss those right in. But here's another one. Some animal's been chewing on this. You can tell because Big as this is almost rotten all the way through. So we're not gonna. And this one's right out. This one's been out here for a long time. It's super mushy and gross, so we're not going to mess with that. But this one, you can tell some buggies have been in it. We don't worry too much about buggies because, there's nothing real gross about them. They're a little bit of protein, if nothing else, and they're usually not in here. So we just try to get out most of the mushy part, and then the brown part that's just been bruised or it's a little bit softer, and it's fine. Yeah, this one's. Yeah, that might save that one just to cut off. Again, an animal or something's been gnawing on it. So that's good enough. for turning into cider. So this is just an easy way to deal with a lot of apples. Yeah, so that's the process of trying to get them off the ground, and some of them that we just don't mess with, and we just smush them with our boots. Die, mushy apples, die. Actually, do want to show you one other thing we look for here. So this one has some mold on it. So we don't want that because it can do all kinds of funky things. But if you were trying to do a bit of an experiment with either making vinegar or cider, natural fermented cider, you might save that and see what that does to the apple juice or the cider, because it could do some pretty interesting things. But that's a bit of an experiment that I usually don't mess with. If we're making hard cider, which is what most of these apples will go for, then we want to do it under our own conditions with our own type of yeast to make sure it makes something delicious and doesn't turn into vinegar. To make vinegar, what I usually just do is take some of the cider and I just leave it sit out, and there's natural bacteria and whatnot floating around that'll do its job. Sometimes it's really delicious, sweet vinegar you get. Sometimes it's really acidic and gross vinegar that's good for cleaning. But it just kind of depends on kind of what's in the air and what floats around. Usually a vinegar mother forms kind of naturally, and you can keep just putting more juice in it and keep making more vinegar. But don't dork out on that too much, because what I'm after is hard cider normally, not so much the vinegar. But anyway, just a little more information here. Yeehaw! So you might ask, why ground apples? Why pick them off the ground? Why not pick them off the tree? Well, a number of reasons. One is I like to be resourceful. So if they're on the ground, if they don't get picked up, they're eventually going to rot and go to waste. So trying to get everything we can, not wasting anything. That's one. Second reason is it's way easier to pick them off the ground than it is trying to climb up in the tree and get a pole and knock them down, and it's just a pain in the butt. So definitely prefer off the ground. I've tried nets before to catch them. I've tried other apparatuses, but picking them off the ground is nothing wrong at all with that. And that's my preferred method here, getting them ground apples. So yeah, ooh, look at that one. That one's real moldy. Not really moldy, it's just got some stuff on. All right, I know this is not that interesting. All right, I'm gonna stop it. Okay, so this is what we ended up with. We've got about half as much as I was hoping. So based off of what I've collected in the past, this should yield about 3 gallons or so. I was really hoping for closer to 5, but yeah. So we're gonna fill these up with water to get them rinsing, and then start to show the magic happens. Okay. Fun fact: do apples float or sink? I think they float or sink. What also floats? Very small rocks. They float. And filling it up with water is so much fun. Okay, the general idea is going to be apples go in the grinder and get ground up into a kind of a mush. Get into the bucket, pretend this is full of apples. We bring it over here. This is the cider press, home built. All right, this is our fancy bucket with all these holes in it. There's a net that goes in. It's actually a paint strainer. All right. Oh no, it fell. It won't fall for real. Okay, pour the pretend apples in. Bloop, 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 bloop. All right, and the apples are in there. Then we put on our wood block. Boop. That'll go there. And then we use our bottle jack. And then that will press the apples out. And then the juice will run into our large pot. Then we pull the bag. Again, use your imagination. Take it. And then we dump it into our mower. That's not there right now. So I will have to get the mower in position. So I'm glad I'm running through this with you guys. And then we will have delicious cider. Very exciting. All right, here's the magic happening. Apples go in the top. Out from the rinse bucket. In the top of the grinder, of the smasher. And then out comes the goo. You squeeze that. Oh yeah. That's what gives you the juice. Oh, Mr. Johnny Verbeck. How could you be so mean? Told you you'd be sorry for inventing that machine. Now all the neighbors, cats and dogs, will never more be seen. They've all been ground to apple goo in Johnny Verbeck's machine. Oh, Mr. Johnny Verbeck, could you be so mean? Told you you'd be sorry for inventing that machine. Now all the neighbors, cats and dogs will never more be seen. They've all been turned to apple goo in Johnny Verbeck's machine. That's really about sausages, but it works. Yeehaw! Yeehaw! Whoa, way down here. All right, so now the apples are gonna go in here, gonna press. All right, I'll be right back with the apples, okay? Don't go anywhere. All right, so this can be a bit of a pain with one person, but we just don't want the net to fall out. That's the biggest pain. Oh yeah, we're starting to get some good stuff already. Ooh, 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 ooh. We got plenty. All right. Oh, it's already just starting to come on out. You can hear it, you can see it. All right, we did get our net failure a little bit. That's okay. We got most of it here. Okay. Make sure we got our painter's bag up. All right, now we put our round guy up here. I'm gonna move it up just a little bit. All right. You can hear what's going on there. We give it a good squeeze down. Oh yeah, I'm actually a little bit further down. Oh yeah. This is a good yield here. Okay, so over that. We've got our bottle jack here. Okay, you can see that. It's still flowing. Close our valve. Oh, yeah. All right. Bottle jack in here. All right. Oh, that is good stuff. You can see it just coming on down. So we're squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Oh man, this is a good yield. Good stuff. Man, if I had a cup here, woo, I'd be doing all right. You get the idea. So I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna move then the put more boards up here to push it down even further, and then that'll give us even more. Oh yeah, look at that. I don't know, we got at least maybe almost 2 gallons out of that, so we might actually have more than I think here. Awesome. Thanks for being with me. All right, so we're done with the press. Now taking everything back off out of the bucket here. All right, this is our top plate here. We get what's left of our apple. There, that's the smushed apples. And then now I got my mower in place down here with my wagon, and we just go whee! Booyah! It's all empty. That gets put in the compost pile. And then this, then we rinse and repeat. Put this back in the net, in the bucket, and then we go back to the grinder. We grind that out, back in the press, squish, out and just keep doing that. And then, yeah, we'll see how much we get here at the end. So I think we might get the 5 gallons. Be sweet. All right, so we ended up with about 4 gallons or so. Maybe, yeah, probably 4 gallons. So less than I was hoping for. But it is super delicious and excellent. So I'm heating this up to 160 degrees. That will pasteurize it. And then this is actually all going to be made into hard cider. But like I said earlier, you can drink it fresh and it'll last about a week in the fridge. Or if you heat it up and pasteurize it, it'll last a few weeks or more in the fridge. And then you can also straight up can it, and then that will last for, you know, many, many months, maybe years on the shelf. So, yep, it was super cool and something that's very enjoyable. So maybe you get to have some. And thanks for watching. Bye.